A few years ago, I discovered a secret that changed my life. You'll never be happy until you have the freedom to make your own choices, where you live, who you spend your time with, and how much or how little you want to work. And that kind of freedom only happens when you have financial independence. The turning point for me was realizing that if I want that kind of freedom, I need to learn how to earn money, how to manage my money, and how to invest it. So today I'm sharing the small habits that made me rich, but not just financially, also my happiness, my well-being, and my relationship with others all became better thanks to these habits. These are small changes that you can start applying right away, and I'm sure you'll be able to notice results within just a few weeks. And there's never been a better time to take charge of your finances and to create the lifestyle that makes you happy with all the information and the tools that are available online nowadays. There are 3 categories of habits that I'm going to share with you: mindset, earning, and investing. And I'm pulling back the curtain and showing you exactly how I built this kind of lifestyle of time freedom and location freedom. Many people avoid looking at the numbers because they think it's boring, just a bunch of numbers. Or even worse, they ignore it because they don't want to face reality. But I've learned that money isn't boring. It's your road to freedom. It's what allows you to book that trip to Italy, to move abroad, to retire 10 years earlier, or just relax on the porch with a cat on your lap. But you have to start somewhere. And the first step is getting your money in order and understanding where you are financially. Looking at the numbers isn't about feeling guilty for spending. There's nothing wrong with enjoying life. It's about having clarity so that you can make choices that are in line with the life that you want to create for yourself. So, how do I track my money without overcomplicating it? One of the best habits that I've built is doing a weekly money check-in. It's super simple, and I use an Excel spreadsheet that I've created for myself. I go over my transactions and I categorize them into things like health, utilities, transportation, groceries. It only takes 10 minutes and it helps me realize where my money is going. The other tracking system that I use is my income spreadsheet, which I update at the end of every month. I have a few income sources. I don't rely on just one. And tracking my income this way helps me see where my money is coming from, which income source is doing best, and where I should put more efforts into. And doing these 2 tracking routines has helped me feel so much more in control of my money. And honestly, my money-related stress has gone down quite a lot. One of the biggest lessons that I've learned is that paying for knowledge is actually the fastest way to get rich. Instead of spending months and sometimes even years trying to figure out things by myself and making expensive mistakes, I realized that paying experts is actually the fastest and the cheapest way to make progress because mistakes are very expensive. So I invested in one-on-one consultations, in courses, and in programs that helped me get results faster. From financial advisor, relocation experts, tax lawyers, and social media mentors that have already achieved the results that I wanted. Anytime I want to get ahead in something, I don't waste time. I just buy the knowledge and I take action. I was raised in a family where, like many other families, talking about money was taboo. I had no idea how much my parents earned, how much they saved, and what was their financial situation. In fact, I only found out after my mother passed away. Becoming rich or wealthy was never the goal in my family. In fact, it was looked upon as being a little bit tacky. The focus was always on going to university, getting a good education, getting a respectable job based on your intellect and not on the income. I had to unlearn a lot of these limiting beliefs in order to achieve the kind of lifestyle that I have today. So I made a conscious effort to spend time with people who already built wealth. I wanted to see how they spend their money, and I learned that it's okay to spend money without feeling guilty or without feeling anxious. One quote I really love and I live by it is, if you don't ask, the answer is always no. I used to hate asking for things. It made me so uncomfortable and I was so afraid of getting rejected. But I want to share this with you because honestly, I'm shocked at how many times people say yes. And after a few times, it becomes like a game to see what else can you get if you just ask for it. Some of the things that I've managed to achieve are lower bank fees. Of course, you need to do a little bit of shopping around before you call your bank. Call other banks and ask for their account fees, and then call your bank and hint that you won't hesitate to move your account if needed. That usually does the trick. Also, internet, cable, gym, most of these providers have promotional rates, but they won't tell you unless you ask for it. Or they're willing to give you some extra perks, like maybe they won't lower the price, but they can give you 1 month for free at the gym. Or a complimentary one-on-one training session with one of their instructors. Late checkout at hotels, if they're not expecting guests to your room, they usually have no problem to let you stay a few hours longer. So don't be afraid to ask for it. In the worst case scenario, they say no and you're back to square one. Some of the biggest opportunities in my life happened because I've met people who inspired me to take action in a certain direction or introduced me to someone at the right timing. But it wouldn't have happened if I hadn't put myself out there intentionally. The truth is, most life-changing opportunities are attached to people. So it's worth your time to put yourself in the right rooms, to talk with people and to follow up, because this could lead to the biggest opportunities of your life. This is why I go to a lot of events, even though I'm an introvert, because I realize that one meeting can change the trajectory of your life. Another important change that I've made is being intentional about who I ask for financial advice from. We have this tendency to turn to family and friends when we're looking for advice, but when it comes to money, that might not be the greatest idea. Why would I take financial advice from someone who isn't in the financial position that I want to be in? Most people give advice based on their own experience and fears. If someone only worked a 9-to-5 job all their life, they would tell me that making money online is crazy, right? Yet I've managed to create a 6-figure business that is entirely online. So I made it a rule for myself that I only ask for financial advice from people that have achieved the results that I want. If I want to buy an investment property, I'm going to talk with people who have already invested and not to my friends who are still sitting on the fence about investing for the last 5 years. If I want to start a YouTube channel, I'm not going to ask my friends who will tell me that I'm cringe. I'm going to buy a course or take a consultation from someone who has already built a successful YouTube channel. Asking for advice from the right people can make all the difference between staying stuck in doubt for years or taking action and moving your life in the right direction. Money isn't just something that funds your life. Money is actually something that can work for you and generate more money. Because when you invest your money into income-generating assets like dividend stocks, bonds, rental properties, and even high-yield savings account, your money works for you. And when you take that money and reinvest it, that's actually how you multiply it and build wealth. The minute I realized that, I started to be very intentional about my spending. And for several years, I lived below my means on purpose, not to deprive myself, but to free up as much money as I could to invest. I treated every dollar that I earned like a little employee that works for me 24/7 to bring in more money. And that's how I built my wealth. One of the biggest changes that I've made, both in my business and in my personal life, is learning to delegate. I used to spend hours doing things like editing videos and doing customer support. But as my hourly rate increased, it meant that every hour that I was doing these things, it was actually costing me money. And there are people who do these things so much better than I do, and their hourly rate is lower. So why wouldn't I pay someone else to do it while I focus on things that bring in more money? So I started outsourcing. I hired people to edit my videos, to manage my course platform, and to do customer support. I also hired someone to do the cleaning because it just doesn't make sense anymore for me to do it when I can spend these hours doing things that are related to the business. And at the end of the day, the more you earn, the more expensive your time becomes, and the more intentional you need to be about how you spend it. Most people, when they think of making more money, they think of negotiating a higher salary or offering more services in their business or taking on another job. And these things are great, but they have one big problem. They still require you to trade your time for money. At a certain point, I realized that true financial freedom is being able to earn money without being required to be at a certain location or time. I wanted income that would keep coming on no matter if I'm sleeping, traveling, or taking a week off to spend with my family. Sounds too good to be true, right? Let me give you some examples of my passive income sources. A YouTube channel that brings in Google AdSense income and brand sponsorships, digital products that I've created, an ebook and a course that now sell on autopilot, investment properties that generate rental income, and dividend stocks and US Treasury bonds. And I know that some people like to say, oh, there's no such thing as passive income. Of course, you do need to put in some work to create these income-generating assets. But once you set them up, they keep generating income with very little effort. One of the biggest reasons that people are struggling financially isn't because they're not working enough, it's because they're not charging enough. Women especially tend to ask for lower pay for their work, and they have a hard time negotiating. The problem is customers who are only looking for the cheapest deals are the most exhausting and the most demanding, and they will move on. They're not loyal once they find a cheaper deal. You don't want these customers. You want to position yourself to attract customers that want to work specifically with you. How do you do that? By creating a personal brand on social media. That's how I did it. If you're not putting yourself out there and getting exposure on social media, your business is basically non-existent in today's world, and you'll be getting very few customers. You'll have to lower your prices, and you'll be stuck in a cycle of burnout. If the last few years have taught us anything, is that relying on just one income source is a huge risk. Companies who were considered stable are laying off people like there's no tomorrow. Jobs are being replaced by AI automation. And many people are finding themselves out of work and with no backup plan. And it's not just job security. We are living in incredibly uncertain times with geopolitical tensions, wars, rising taxes, eating away at people's pensions and savings. So depending on just one employer or just one government pension is an incredibly huge risk. And I believe that we all need to take full responsibility of our income, and that means diversifying our income sources. So no matter what happens, there will still be money coming in. If you've got money just sitting in your bank account, you're losing its buying power because of inflation. You need to make sure that your money is in a high yield saving account. Ask your bank about monthly, quarterly, and yearly deposit options. If you know that you're going to need your money in the upcoming year, don't lock it away for too long, but at least put it in a short-term deposit so you're earning something. It's better than just letting inflation eat away at your money. I didn't just wake up one morning with financial freedom. It happened because I built these tiny, consistent habits that compounded over time. Which habit surprised you the most? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Sending you hugs.